Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is HANIF bin HALIM, and this will be my video for chapter 13.4.8 constraint. First is constraint. What it is a method used to model certain behaviors inside a game. Then we have six constraints, which is first point to point constraint, stiff spring rod constraint. The third one is a hinge constraint, a prismatic constraint, a constraint chain, and also ragdolls. Okay, most physics engines typically provide the users with a number of ways to exert control over the bodies, and here we have four of it, which is gravity that exists mostly in games, force that can be applied to a body, then we have impulse, a force for instant change of behaviors or direction of a body, then torque, which can be spin to change direction. Then we have integrating a physics engine into your game. First is linking game object and rigid bodies. This involves in connecting physics simulations with game objects, then physics-driven bodies, object in-game that move and interact according to the law of physics, game-driven bodies, the objects that are controlled by game codes and can be altered by developers using logic and rules. Then we have the fixed body, a special type of rigid body. Then lastly, Havoc's motion type, which categorize object into static, dynamic, or keyframe, then determine on how the object behaves in a simulation. And here we have updating the simulation, which is the step to completely update the physics simulation. There's 7 of it. First is to update the game-driven rigid body, then update the phantoms, followed by update force, apply impulse, and adjust the constraint. Next is to step the simulation and update the physics-driven game object. And sixth step is to query the phantoms, followed by the last step of performing collision cast queries. Last one is to use collision and physics in games. Okay, there's 4 of it. First is the use of simple rigid body game objects. Example, sticks and stones, the objects that can be picked and thrown. Second is use of bullet traces. Example, use of lasers and bullets. These are affected by gravities. Then the creation of grenades that can bounce and be limited by using air drag or manually managed. Then explosion that mimics their sound and created blast effect and also surrounding damages.